Hello everyone and welcome back to Nate the Hoof Guy. Today's video, we are working on one of the most pesky problems that a hoof trimmer has to deal with, and that's when a white line works its way up that outside wall. So let's get started on this and see what we can do. So when pressure builds in that hoof, it's going to release one of two ways. Either it's going to separate that sole and release near the heel bulb, or that pressure is going to try to escape by working its way up that outside wall, and that's exactly what we've got here. As we zoom in, you're going to be able to see where that problem started along that white line in the sole, and you can also see how it's starting to track up that outside wall. Now, the only question is it going to make it all the way up to the hairline, or is it going to work its way out the side? Once again, this is one of those trims where I know I'm going to need to remove wall horn, so I'm going to do that right now with my grinder. That's going to make my knife work that much easier. As I begin my knife work here, you're going to be able to see both the mark in the sole where this started and the path it's taking up that outside wall. You can both see and hear how hard this wall horn is and how difficult it is to get my knife to work through it. Now, some have suggested why not use a Dremel tool to work on things like this? And you could for some of the most basic stuff. However, when you're dealing with active problems up underneath that Dremel tool is going to create a lot of vibration, and that could make this an uncomfortable situation for that cow. Whereas with my knife, I can slowly work that knife through, lift as I remove those detached areas, whereas a Dremel is going to have to use abrasive techniques to grind it away. That vibration is just not something that I want to deal with. Not only that, but I'm not able to be as precise with getting that horn away from anything active underneath. So that's why I choose to do that. Could there be ways where a Dremel tool might be handy in this situation? Sure, but like I said, I like to be able to control how I remove that hoof horn from these areas. This type of trimming is also a good example of why I use double-edged knives. Here you can see I can work with that other edge and work and actually cut upwards, and then if I want to make a cut downward, I can simply use the same knife. If I'm using a single-sided knife or a hand-specific knife, I'm going to have to switch hands or switch blades as far as making the same cuts. Now that I know exactly where this problem is and the defined areas I need to work, I can get that block in place. Now, one of the questions I get all the time is why not put that block on right away, give that glue plenty of time to cure? And the reason I don't do that is because at the beginnings of the trim, you're not sure exactly where that problem is going to track or if there's other problems you may need to deal with. And if you put that block in place right away, it can get in the way of that knife work. I like to make sure that my knife work is as precise as possible so that I'm not causing any additional problems, so I want to make sure there's no obstructions in my way. Once I know that I can do that work freely without that block causing any problems, I'll get it on there, and this glue sets up in just a couple of minutes anyway. So by the time now that I'm done with this trim, that glue will be plenty hard and can go down. Remember that question I asked at the beginning of the video? I wasn't sure whether it was going to work its way out the top or if it was going to work its way out the side. And luckily here, this one has worked its way out the side. That's allowed me to find where that crack terminates, and I can work my knife and clear that horn away and get it all completely free and washed now free of debris. That's the key when trying to get these to heal up, is to be able to find where they terminate. Sometimes they have to work their way all the way up to the hairline before that can happen. Now I can get this area cleaned out all the way and get a salicylic acid wrap in place. And with that, this trim is complete. We'll get to see her walk here on the way out. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you all on the next one.